The story begins with us being shown the campus of a women's university. This educational institution is truly imbued with student youth and the smell of freshness. Further, we can notice a variety of students. Among them, we see a very beautiful girl, and behind them is an unknown guy. Young guys rejoice in their youth. In the next shot, we see this student. He has black hair, a bowl cut, a white t-shirt, and judging by the expression on his face, he is not at ease. We recognize him as the main protagonist of the entire story. He is a student who served in the army at a women's university for females. After meeting the main character, a certain white printed sheet is visible before our eyes about the enrollment of our protagonist in a women's university for girls. Next, you can see how our hero, sitting at an Apple computer, reads this admission to a women's university with great amazement on his face. The next frame shows him sitting at an easel where he draws with a beautiful teacher. He also told the story of how he chose a profession related to manhwa, because since childhood he loved art very much. Therefore, our hero entered a women's university. It was there that he could fully feel the joy of full scholarships, good classmates, and a wonderful atmosphere. In the very next frame, he talks about how in the past, he went to serve in the army to repay his debt to his homeland after his first year of study at the university. And here we see two sergeants. One of them our hero, who is watching the news from TV about the university from which he left against his own will. Next, we see the amazing news that the university where our main character studied throughout his first year was closed. He was very surprised by this. The hero made a funny grimace on his face in surprise because a certain chairman ran away with the entire budget of the women's university, which led to the closure of the university. The university was closed the day before his graduation from the army. Now his face is in shock from the difficult student life, for which there are no tuition fees, a destroyed building, and classmates who disappeared. It seems that after such shocks, our poor guy headed back to his native university to enroll in a new one, and we see him in soldier's clothes where he begs the beauty to be enrolled. Then she says that there is no need to worry. He can easily enter any nearest university with a similar profession if he wishes. The hero looks at a certain sheet, looking for a university in his profession, with great hope that he will be able to enter a good university. After all the search attempts, we see his amazed face where he found the university of his dreams, where he will finally fly in with great enthusiasm and zeal. But in the next frame, the hero's face blurred into a sad face from surprise that this university is a women's university named after Song Jin. In this frame, we see how the main character enters the university, where he sees three unknown girls wearing a purple sweater on one and black hair on the other wearing a yellow t-shirt. And the third girl's face is hidden behind the scenes. Afterwards, he asks one of the girls whether this office is really the office of the commission of the Song Jin Women's University. After a question that caused some surprise in the girl, our hero presents her with a blank sheet of paper, probably for enrollment in this university. This is a surprise in which the main character, showing a white sheet of paper, tells us that he came here with the desire to transfer. After such a strong statement, our character stands in great despair because it is difficult for him to stand near the reception area, plus there are many surprised girls standing around him. As a result, for our beloved hero, the only educational institution in his specialty where he was given a ticket is the Sun Jin Women's University, located nearby. In the next frame, we are shown the hero's description of enrollment in a women's university, where clear information is shown that he is now officially listed as a student at a women's university. After a while, you can see how the main character confidently goes to this university, saying that he has now become a student at a women's university after serving in the army. Next, the audience sees a large audience for a lecture where the teacher is standing and a large number of students are sitting. Probably our hero is among them. This teacher with beautiful dark hair says that she will notify the students that she will now check the attendance of each of those present. The next frame shows us very beautiful students of different appearances, and we also see how the teacher checks everyone's attendance by name. After conducting a fascinating survey on attendance, the teacher, smiling beautifully at all the students, clarifies the last name of the student sitting in the audience. After the name of the last student in the attendance survey, we find out that our hero named Kang Sang Cheol is sitting in the classroom surrounded by lovely ladies. The teacher, turning to him with a slight positive smile, hopes that they will be friends, and emphasizes the fact that this is the student who entered by transfer. Continuing her cool speech, she says that now he is sitting next to a girl who is a representative of the student faculty, saying that if he has any questions, he can ask them to this beauty. Next, the main character Khan, whose face looks like a red tomato from amazement, looks at this beautiful girl with a very surprised face, as if he saw an angel in front of him. After he admires her, she waves and greets him, saying that she is the representative of the student faculty and now hopes to get along with him. Kan, having lost the gift of her crazy unreal beauty, says that he is very happy about their acquaintance, and thus he is pleased to meet her. Looking at this girl, the hero is very happy, all because she was beautiful. As if from another planet, the girl is beautiful. She is wearing a beautiful orange jacket, and her face is emphasized by glasses. Then the hero noticed that the other girls looked no worse, and that they were all the same beautiful, sweet, and friendly ladies. After all the pleasant acquaintances, impressions, and cool emotions, he is glad that he is perhaps the only guy among all these girls at the women's university. The next slide shows us a nice conversation between the hero and a girl who is a representative of the faculty. And she asks if he has any other questions. He replies that he doesn't have any. Continuing their pleasant conversation, she is interested in him, asks permission to ask a question, and asks him what year of study he is in. And he tells her with a joyful smile on his face that he just transferred to this university. So now he is in his second year of study. She, in turn, emphasizes that she is in her third year of study. Watching their sweet conversation further, we notice how our protagonist's face is confused in a smile, and we also see how this girl wants to say something and begins further conversation with the word sorry. Continuing the conversation, she compliments her words by asking him to be left alone with her after all classes come to an end, and he, in turn, like an idol, asks why. This beauty in glasses, continuing their conversation, hints to him that the reason that she asks him to stay alone with him after class is too obvious, and the hero, meanwhile, froze from such a turn of events. Next, we see a very interesting and entertaining shot of how we are shown this girl from a completely different side, where she expresses herself in an impartial manner towards the main character by the fact that he addressed her without formally ending the conversation by saying that he will gather everyone here. Hero Kan stands as if struck by thunder from such cruel communication with this beauty, as she brings to his attention that he was in vain hoping that she would not ignore it. The next slide shows the protagonist in a depressed state. In the frame, you can see how he stretched his arms forward and is about to do something. Perhaps this is related to physical activity. The new frame shows us how the hero overcomes the difficulties of being forced to do push-ups by these beauties. His condition clearly makes it clear that he is definitely not pleased to be in such a situation. After the hero has fulfilled the training standards, our future Hulk has completed push-ups, and our beauties, who like to make fun of the boy, turn to him. After being bullied by a faculty representative, the girl states that life for first-year students has become too easy, and that there was supposedly no permission for informal communication between first-year students and seniors. Then this girl comes closer to the hero and tells him that if he thinks that an apology is a panacea for the problems of student life, then it looks like he is very mistaken. Their complex moral conversation ends with him giving this girl his word as a boy that from now on his behavior at this university will be good and decent. There is a new slide, and we see that exactly a week has passed since their altercation, and our hero made conclusions and came to understand what kind of place he is studying in. Next, we are moved into a frame where they show some unknown lady with a cigarette in her hands, who looks with a pathetic look at how two girls bowed to her like some kind of queen. The hero Kan watches this moment and thinks in his attic that this place is filled with a variety of terrible things no worse than those found in the army. Then he continues to reflect in his head about the army, saying that this is a terrible practice and a ton of absurdity worse than the army. And we also see a picture of how they show us different girls in military uniform. Soon we are introduced to certain requirements for newcomers, showing a screenshot of a faculty group chat where they talk about the rules of strict greetings in an impartial manner and many other strict rules. The hero Kan thinks in his mind that it is better not to stand out, saying this is the best option to survive in such a terrible place. Otherwise, the main character will clearly face a new cringe situation. The very next frame showed a variety of pretty girls with malicious smiles who laughed at our hero, looking at him, noticing whether he was really a new student. Our hero looks like a squeezed lemon, as if tanks had driven over him, since the girls shown above laugh at him with a variety of epithets, going so far as to discuss his hockey stick, his appearance, and think about what they would like to do with him. Next, a powerful moment is shown that we see two girls, one red-haired and the other with dark hair, asking provocative questions to our boy about which of the two is the most beautiful girl in his opinion. And it was as if a bear stepped on our hero's ear that he decided to ask the question again. Having asked the question again, our slow-witted person hears from them the following proposal. With whom of the two would he like to do yoga? One of them begins to turn on aggression because she advises to make a decision quickly because she is damn disgusted when she is compared and associated with the girl whom she considered a loser. The main character made a decision and reports that the sunbai looks more beautiful, as they say. If you chase two birds with one stone, you won't catch one. The hero was forced to choose one. Finally, the winner caught the moment to add her 2 cents and say that the hero has excellent taste in terms of choosing the opposite sex. The red-haired beauty at that moment decided not to miss the chance, and also went on the attack, thereby offering to sit at the same desk with her in the next lesson. In the next slide, the main character Khan is sitting at the computer in a very good mood and draws almost like Pablo Picasso. That red-haired beauty sits opposite him and tries to attract his attention by asking him to look at the drawing she drew. Judging by her face, there's something interesting there. The redhead shows her drawing, which depicts a certain girl who emits a wide range of emotions while performing yoga, and it seems that she is having a very difficult time in such a difficult activity. The protagonist, with a surprised face, looking at this unusual drawing, notices the fact that the redhead drew this picture quite well, but she, in turn, showed dissatisfaction with the fact that this is not what she wanted to hear from him. After evaluating the drawing, our beauty moves to a new level of questions and invites him to help her draw comics for another audience. And he is interested in what is required of him in this work, and she answers him that she wants to find out some information about him, including the rules for drawing a person. But then the conversation goes in that direction when it comes to the baseball bat in which she is interested. Next, she demands that a baseball bat be shown, since a game like baseball certainly cannot do without this item. The main character Khan turned on a complete fool and did not hear what he was told, and the girl tells him to urgently deliver a baseball bat from AliExpress. Then the conversation progresses to the fact that they are discussing the possibility that suddenly someone will see them playing baseball during school hours. Khan makes the girl aware of the fact that it doesn't matter, and it doesn't matter because they are in a place where no one will ever notice them during a baseball game. The girl again turned on her trademark aggression, noticing the fact that the hero takes everything with hostility. In the next frame, she begins to whine and persuade him to quickly agree to a game of baseball. Otherwise, she will go in the classic style of the genre and tell everyone on him so that he won't even care. Now the girl decided to go on the attack and says that if it weren't for the extra people around them at the moment, he most likely would have immediately followed her lead. She continues to persuade him and get on his nerves so that he agrees to her requests, namely that he play baseball with her and find a bat for the game. In the next frame, she had already switched the record to a different melody, thereby offering some other option for their leisure time. And I decided to hold the new backpack in my hands purely out of interest. I bought it last week in one of the city's shopping centers. After cheerful conversations, they were caught walking, so the teacher confronted them, saying that they were counting crows in the classroom. From such a remark, the main character fell into a stupor of shame, and after such a cringe, he apologized to the teacher, and the red-haired girl sitting next to him was glad that he was punished. The next slide showed that she had not calmed down and continued to grab the backpack, thereby bringing him into aggressive emotions. The main character, dissatisfied with what is happening, asks a reasonable question about what she is doing, to which she receives no response from her. The girl, clutching her backpack and hugging her back, believes that in addition to the fact that she is having fun, he should also be glad that there is a girl like her actually hugged him. The hero asks her to stop, but because of such joy, she cannot just stop and say that, judging by his state, he is also happy about the current situation. But it seems that he is also in no hurry to stop. Further, she refers to the fact that he is in no hurry to stop her since time has already passed, and he is accustomed to such joyful emotions. After which she demands more activity from him and asks him to take an active part in their joint game of baseball. Our hero blushed like a tomato looking at the red-haired beauty, meaning that she was asking him to take more part in the game. She eventually gave up and stopped getting on his nerves, citing the fact that the supposed reason was her appearance, thereby considering herself not a beautiful girl, which means their sports games had come to an end. As it turned out, no, and the hero decided to switch to another sport. Now it was freestyle wrestling, and they slowly begin a life-and-death battle with him. He decides to make an epic grab and throws him to the ground. Now they will measure their strength, and he also wonders if everything is okay with her. From her facial expression, we see that she definitely likes the new sport that they are doing. Based on this, it is clear that she is happy about such a battle. The hero at this moment is in a very difficult position, since this is a sports game that requires clear coordination and good feedback from each other. In the next frame, we see how difficult it is for them to overcome each other, but they try their best to achieve victory. Later, we notice that the hero was tired of such a battle. He no longer had any strength, and he asked his girlfriend to stop the game. In response to his request, she says, "Why then won't he stop himself? Because the man is stronger, and logically he should be the first to give up." From all these squabbles, they just can't come to a common decision about when they will end their battle with each other. Or simply no one wanted to lose. And she, in turn, encourages him to be honest with himself and decide what he wants and finally make a decision. She further says that if he continues to behave in an indefinite way without knowing what to do in their game, she herself will take the initiative and will fight him until the very end so that he loses. From the frame, we see that she seems to be tired. Her face is silent and red, but with effort, she continues to fight with him at full strength. Archon still can't stop the fight, but at the same time, he's trying. But on the other hand, it's not really because it's not every day that there's an opportunity to fight with such a beautiful red-haired girl like her. In the next frame, we see that they are about to finally approach the finale, and we find out the winner of their difficult confrontation over a long period of time. As a result, we learn in the next slide that friendship won, because both sides made great efforts to achieve good results in their difficult struggle. The hero at this moment is also very tired, and looking at the tired girl, he worries whether everything is okay with her. He continues to look at her and call her by her name Sunbae, in the hope that she did not overexert herself too much in their fight. Coming closer to her, he wonders if she feels well, but in response he receives only silence and continues to look at her. He can't get rid of the thought that he did something wrong, thereby offending the girl. As a result, she told him that he had gone too far in their sports confrontation. It turns out that the hero screwed up and she left in a terrible mood. The next morning, we see the main character sitting on a bench staring at the phone and doesn't know what to do. He is still in a panic because of what happened, so looking at his smartphone, his face betrays sad emotions. The new slide shows a screenshot of the 19th and 20th groups gathering near the restaurant building, probably to discuss some business. Switching to a new frame, we were shown an unpleasant scene of how some girl with a bat appeared and cruelly forced other girls to do physical exercises, namely push-ups. And judging by their appearance, we can definitely say that it's not easy for them. In general, we find out the identity of this girl who introduced herself as a representative of the fourth-year students of the Pak Shine faculty. And judging by her facial expression, she is clearly not friendly towards people, and also shows a dissatisfied face, that with a pouty face, says something about whether everything is second-year students are here. One of the girls who was approached with this question answers that there are one person missing from the second and third year of study. As a result, our baseball player with a dissatisfied face tells them that in order for them to think adequately, they need to be beaten. Further in the frame, we see her cruel methods of treating her fellow students, warning them not to become arrogant, saying it doesn't matter what year of study they are in. This girl continues to show an evil character to everyone she punished, making it clear that if they managed the team better, then everything would be okay.
And finally, the main character runs into the sports uniform with all his might, together with that red-haired beauty, to the evil beauty, on his last legs.
In the very next frame, the evil beauty immediately attacked the hero with criticism that he was late, noticing the fact that he did not seem to know that many students had gathered here. Next, she draws attention to one interesting point and brings the conversation to what she is saying and notices the fact that these two students were sitting at the end of the audience in a pair, and they were perplexed and asked, "So what?" After which that girl showed a terrible face that made our hero almost fall from fear and continued to put pressure on them, saying that the two of them were playing baseball. Also continuing to attack them verbally, she notes the fact that the professor reported to her that people from the back of the room saw what they were doing during the lesson. Our hero, after all her verbal attacks, replays in his head everything that happened that day and concludes that if he tells her, she will be very surprised by their answer. The new slide notifies us that she demands from them an immediate clear answer about what they were doing in the steam room, and they, in turn, filled their mouths with water and stood rooted to the spot. The hero analyzes in his head the moment that it is really the red-haired girl who will give all the cards and tell the whole truth as it is. And then we see the malicious face of this girl, which most likely means that she is about to give out some powerful speech in response to questions. In the end, she doesn't dare, and tells that girl with dark hair the fact that our hero was having fun playing baseball. Our short-haired brunette looks at this with a straight face, not believing the word said that that dude played baseball. Only then we are thrown into the frame where the girls look at all this, and in amazement they form incomprehensible emotions on their faces. After listening to their dialogue, we observe how everyone who was punished physically looks at their conflict with very surprised expressions. Continuing to judge them in a pretentious stance, they stand in front of it out of fear, as if they had taken water into their mouths and cannot even utter a word in defense. So we come to the denouement of their dialogue, in which the redhead revealed all her cards and says in fact that he started playing baseball and she was excited and had no idea what to do. and she asks if everything that Sunbai said is really true, to which our hero answers in the negative, meaning that she made it all up. Further, the conflict develops in such a way that they begin to throw arrows at each other without trying to somehow get out of the situation, without suffering morally from the girl who criticizes them. In the next frame, our slow-witted one thinks in his head that it was she who played baseball and not him, thereby considering the option of what to say to her in response to her attack. The redhead demands to reveal all the cards as soon as possible, and to finally tell the whole truth and not drag it out as if it were a secret of a global scale. The hero turned on reflection, reasoning in his head that it doesn't matter whether he played baseball or not, because his status at the university has already been destroyed, and if he drags this red-haired girl to the bottom with him, then she will 100% not allow him to live in peace. Continuing to analyze the situation, he presents her in military uniform and reports that this situation is the same as writing a letter about foul play that he went through in the army from a senior in rank, since it doesn't matter, because the sergeant major will continue to mock him no matter what. We are approaching the finale, and the beautiful brunette notices the fact and clarifies whether what the redhead said about the bat is true. Next, you can see how we are shown a frame in which the main character with a sad look on his face is trying to utter at least some excuse out of words so that he doesn't get it. In general, our not-so-distant break turned on the stupid one and said that there was nothing ingenious except coming up with an attempt to justify himself by saying that he was kind of late, thereby not coming up with an apology. She only hesitantly asked him not to make such mistakes again and to pass, and he thanked her in return. In short, in general, we then see a short biography of this girl, and we learn that she is a representative of the fourth-year students of the faculty. She graduated from a women's high school and a higher women's school, as well as a women's college. From this, it follows that she clearly understands what desires men have, stating this as a fact. And as a result, everyone calmed down, and she finally informed everyone who was being punished that they could be free, and in turn, obeyed her order. After such systematic jokes, our hero froze with shame and could not utter a letter or a word. The denouement ended with the red-haired beauty making a compromise and promising that she would treat our hero with respect, and he was dumbfounded from shock at this turn of events. Then, passing by all the students, the hero walks in a depressed mood after everything that happened to him, and he continues to mentally say that maybe he should quit his studies after such bullying from all these girls. Continuing to walk around the university, thinking about his future, a beauty with glasses passes by, smiling sweetly. As it turned out, this girl closely followed his adventures and realized that it would definitely not be boring to study with him. The plot continues, and we see in front of us the main character who is sitting at a table in his hands holding a pen and seems to be writing something on a white piece of paper. The next slide shows some girls who, passing by, see our hero and are interested in him, clarifying out loud whether this is exactly the guy about whom there are rumors. During one of the windows, a very beautiful girl approached him, wearing a light dress and delicate brown hair. Then, turning to the main character, she calls him by name, thereby clarifying with him whether his name is actually that, and in response he tells her, how could he help her now? The new frame continues to show us her unearthly beauty, and she also continues to communicate with the main character, saying that she has a specific request for him. The next page gives us an explanation of what she means by the request, which is for him to do something very important.
Next, we see the face of our protagonist who froze in place at the request of this beauty.
As it turned out, by request she means that she wants to give him a pack of green ones so that he will probably go and buy something. They hand him a beautiful stack of green papers with a request to take something on them, but the hero stands there like a statue and doesn't know what to do. After that, he ran away as quickly as Sonic the Hedgehog, perplexed as to why she needed this. Then you can see that the main character, running away, cries like a little girl, wondering how this happened. Can, running with all his might, is shouting around the bush about how he is somehow not that kind of person, an amazing moment in which not everything is so clearly understood. We see the hero's face where he holds both cheeks and is in strong emotions from what happened. In short, our slowpoke covered his entire face with his hands out of embarrassment and confusion, saying that this situation was a real cringe. After the incident with the baseball bat, most of the students at the women's university began to look at him. His image and status among people of the opposite sex leaves much to be desired. Perhaps the hero still hopes that everything will work out. The hero continues to put on a show and remain depressed for such a long time after that incident. From the moment of that incident, our protagonist began to talk about the fact that he now wants to take revenge for such terrible treatment towards him. The new slide shows us an interesting picture of how that red-haired girl who brought our hero to a terrible state is sitting around the girls and probably discussing him. As a result, every girl who sees him at the university immediately discusses the story with the bat. This red-haired girl, in the classic style of the genre, continues to humiliate him in front of other girls. And the girl who sits next to her is truly inspired and rejoices at how she smashes the main character to pieces. Next, this girl asks her about the story with the baseball bat with such a cheerful grin, as if there is something genius in this story. Sunbae nods his head in surprise and asks her what he means by bat. But it turned out that it dawned on her what they had told her, and she confirmed that yes, that baseball game between them was worth it. The hero watches everything as if the security camera criticizes them in his head for discussing him behind his back. The girl who is talking to Sunbae is interested in the question of how she manages to attract the attention of guys so easily. Her answer is that she says that all the success she has achieved in this regard is due to self-confidence and many years of training. She asks what she should do, and how to train and develop her skills to attract the attention of boys. The hero continues to watch like an idol as someone is discussing him behind his back if he is not too lazy. In the next frame, we see the joyful face of our red-haired beauty who probably wants to convey something to us. As it turned out, this girl has some privileges at this women's university, and therefore everything that happens there is easy for her. Then we see our boy who just can't come to his senses after all the abuse from the girls. In the new slide, the hero analyzes the moment that he seemed to have learned some secret of that red-haired girl. Continuing to talk about this, he says that if he continues to fight for the truth, he will be able to defeat it. Looking at her, he dreams of getting even with her for the humiliation she subjected him to. What a surprise, in the next frame they are already chatting together, and he invites her to go and have coffee with him. Perhaps this is the main character making some kind of plan. She looks at him and thinks to herself why he actually needs this since the relationship between them is tense. The hero still takes some steps in her direction. The hero manages to persuade her to go on a date with him and drink coffee, and she gladly agrees to this. They are drinking coffee, and some kind of conversation between them will probably begin soon. During the conversation, she apologizes for her behavior and conveys that she is uncomfortable with the fact that she lied to him. But the hero is not a wuss and says it like it is, saying that because of her, our boy is now an outcast in the eyes of all the students. In short, she calms him down and says that everything is in the past, so she makes it clear to the hero that he needs to live on and forget about the past. The hero simply accepted everything she told him, and perhaps agreed with her opinion. Then we find out that it turns out that the hero was not so disgusted with playing sports games with her, since he also liked their joint leisure time. And the girl, in turn, looks at him with great surprise in her eyes and probably wonders how this happened. Continuing to sit in the cafe, they talk, and the hero tells her that he probably wouldn't mind spending time together with her again, so he asks for one favor. He invites her to play baseball with a bat again, and she, drinking coffee, will soon give us her answer to such a request. She arrives in shock and asks a reasonable question that she did not expect the hero to take such a step. She is waiting for his answer, and he sits and drinks coffee in pathos, but soon he will give an answer. In short, the girl, in the classic style of the genre, begins to freak out and tells him how he even came up with this stupid idea to offer her baseball again. Whatever one may say, she agrees, so she calls the main character with her and tells him to follow her. In the new slide, we see the happy face of the hero, as if he had hit the jackpot on all this. They enter the classroom, and it is the redhead who tells him to wait 1 minute before they start playing. In general, the hero is not going to wait another million years, and therefore takes out sports equipment, and this means that the game has already begun. After such a demonstration, the girl is in a great mood, which means that she really wants to play baseball with a bat. She promised that she would do her best to play baseball well, and took the bat in her hands to start playing. The hero adds that he wants to start the game first, so he asks him to start this prank before she starts playing. It turned out that the hero was just very excited about this rematch, so he wanted to play in such a way as not to spoil anything for anyone. As a result, the heroine decided to compromise and thereby will monitor the pace of their game. In general, the game begins. Our boy persuaded her to be the first to start the game, so the hero has a difficult job in this game. And the hero, in turn, thanks her for easily agreeing to his request, so the game will begin without any problems. The game is in full swing, so the girl is very happy about this pastime and wants the hero to try his best in the game. During the game, the heroine was so tense that her face turned so red from the exertion, so we wish her speedy success. The game is going on, and during the game, the hero tells her that he will not give in to her and that the game will go on in full force. She is so worried about this that she cannot find words for this situation, so she simply decided to trust the hero 100%.